Welcome. Let's explore the directory structure of Laravel that frequently we will visit and we will use in our project of smart expense keeping, where we build a application which is smartly record the expense and many things that we will cover in that application. And before moving, we need to understand the structure that the Laravel use. So we have a name of app name is a smart expands. Under that we have a source. So there are mainly three or four directories that we frequently use, and because it's a model view controller, in one directory it will set models, and at one it will set a controller, and the one directory will be for our views. So in app and in app we have a model which is business to take care of business flow, business logic, means a database, connect to database and fetch the records. So user is a model, so the model will be under app directory. And the http is for our under http controllers, middlewares and kernels. And we can define our middleware under this directory. So under middleware, so the default middleware for Laravel is auth and guest. And if you want to take more than two middlewares, so more than one middlewares in like application, somewhere application that we may required, so you can feel easily understand the business flow of e-shop, uh, e-commerce website where we need a front end, we need some user to log in in the back end we need a admin to handle that. So we will uh, can create multiple middleware to handle such scenario. But in our scenario it's a basic a single mm, application, and we have do not have a user to log in. So middleware will be under that. And here it is the controller, the main part, which is all controller will be created under this directory. So app, http, http and controllers. And the default controller is this. And class controller extend base controller, it extends the base controller. So this is the default controller. And under auth there will be the controller for our login and forget password and register and reset password. So authentication, all authentication controllers are under that, which is the default. By default Dara will have authentication system, so they provides the controllers under that. So we will create our all controller under this http controllers directory. Okay, model controllers. And what else we will frequently use is our database to create migrations and seeders and factories. So validation for factories, we can create our factories for validation. So here is a user factory for it is a validation. So you can create a factory to forge your data, dummy data to database. We can create our also factory. So seeders is also the same like that. If you have a want to send dummy data to your database, you can create seeder. So main is the migration. So default is two migration is Laravel has created, for one for users and one for password reset. So all our migration that deal with our data base. So we will create all that migrations under this table, database and migrations. So this will be the second directory that we'll frequently use in our project. And also the configuration directory is the main directory for all the configuration where we can set our configurations. So main is app. Some setting we will set in app and database. So under app, you can see we can set our app name. Now it is a Laravel, so you can define its your own name. Environment, variable, production environment. So the environment we will the default is environment. If you want to set default things, you can set right here. So URL is localhost. If you when we go to a production environment, we can change it URL. So we can change our time zone. So time zone and what else? App key and the providers and the aliases. So all the providers that we will use for database, file system, auth, authentication, and it will be in our providers. So we can define our custom providers. So we have to define the classes and naming conventions in under providers, and we have to provide the aliases for that. So these are the defaults, aliases and providers with Laravel. So you can customize your own thing. Okay, and the next is the database, and default is MySQL, and we will go with MySQL database. So our MySQL settings is right here. So taking the environment variable from environment file. So host, port, and username, password, Unisco character set. So it's taking the setting from environment. So we will define all the database setting in environment file, which is a default environment file. So all setting will be set there, but and you have to know about the database default configuration of database. So these are the two files that we frequently visit, somehow more than one or two. So database configuration and the controller is set. Okay, next directory will be the public. In public, we will set our CSS, JS, our JavaScript files, CSS files, and all will be under that public. Images and any custom images download uploading will be set in public. It will all the files under public directory will be accessible to everyone. So because it is public and anyone can access this directory, all the data which is in that directory will be accessible. So we have discussed controller in our controller, HTTP controller, and database in migration, configuration, and model. So under app, also a public directory, and the last one, but not least, the resources. All the views there will be a front end data coding will be under resources views. So here is the default view that we can see. Welcome. So which is so this is the default view. So all our views will be under view directory. So you can make your own directory, and under the your custom directory you can define your views. So resources, we have a views under resources, and the routes directory is for routes. We will frequently use the web route. So default is all will the routes we will define here under that file routes. So controller, model, database configuration, public resources, and routes. So these are the directories that we will touch during our project, and all other directories are not necessary to touch because these are the directories which are required for Laravel. So here is the environment file that we can see, or we can set our database, we can set our environment for local production environment. So debugging is for local environment, we can set if by default the debugging is true. So all the bugs and error will be shown. If we go to a production development or a production environment, when we set it, so it will be false. So but and we can set our database right here, and your SMTP server or mail driver setting will be set here, or an API setting will be, you can set right here. So environment file is very important. Okay, and what else? So these are the main directories that are touchable and we will see in future. So take care.